been pretty upfront about like what I take and like when I started taking it. It's just like at this point, like I don't have a reason to lie. I know some people like to like downplay their doses, but
You've trained and made progress both clean and using. What is the biggest, because it's still kind of somewhat fresh in your mind.
yeah.
What are the biggest differences that you noticed between not just going on, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, well, yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
That'll be fun, right? So you go on your
Yeah.
first cycle. What's that like?
I mean, my first cycle was literally just I started at 12 weeks out.
Well, this is not SARMs. Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
First
okay.
real cycle was literally just 100 tests for 4 weeks, 150 tests, and then 200 milligrams of tests. That was my first cycle. That was when I hit 2K at 181.
When you notice first, did you notice recovery?
The biggest thing was like when you're natural, you have like, you know, in those training days where like you go in and you're like, oh, I'm feeling on, like I can hit basically what I put on the bar, and like it just seems like the number of those training days increased, and like almost like every day was a day where I was like, I feel good today. Like mentally, I was happy and like I was loving training. Whereas like sometimes when you're natural, you're run down, your body's feeling a little bit more beat up, and you're just like, I don't want to lift today.
Well, it still happens to you now, though, right?
Yeah,
so
sure.
it's,
But less often, I guess.
yeah. Well, not only that, but the first time you're like jacked up to be doing it the first time.
Yeah.
I always joke that, the people who are just started taking stuff for first couple of years, they never miss it. They never miss a dose. They never miss. Fuck, they'll hit it at the same time every week, like Wednesday at 3.
Yeah.
Do it for a while. Then you're like, fuck, it's been 3 days or
Yeah.
2 days.
Yeah.
You're probably better at it.
No, there was a couple days where I was like I was trying to like start my cycle, and then went to Germany. I'm like, I don't want to travel internationally with that stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'll just like an extra couple days like without it, it'll be fine.
So did it put you behind a week or 2?
Like a week.
That's not too bad.
Yeah.
Now, is that being there's like off, then there's like off, right? So
Yeah.
is that coming from like completely off or just like
So usually I do come completely off.
Yeah.
And I think that's something like people need to understand, is that like your strength is gonna like decrease and you're gonna feel like shit. If you're like thinking about getting on anything, just know like you will have highs, but you also have to like be able to deal with the lows.
yeah.
So normally I do come completely off. This last prep I tried out just staying on like 100 milligrams test a week, and felt pretty good. But we'll see. Usually like,
Was it easier mentally after? Because usually there's going to be a mental drop if you go off.
Yeah, usually like I did get a little bit of a mental drop. It did seem like it was, so normally when I come completely off, like I almost like know the day it's going to happen. It's like 24 days after like my last dose is like when like I wake up that day and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm totally natural
So
now.
now you're willing it. For
Yeah,
yourself.
and it's like 2 or 3 days where I'm like I'm depressed, like I don't know. It's kind of like a different depression where it's like I know why I'm sad, and like
You're just
I'm just like I just need to get through these next 2 days, and I'm 2 or 3 days and I'm good, and then like it starts kind of come back up again. But with this last one, it was it kind of seemed like it like stretched out. It was like week 5 or 6 when I felt like that drop in energy, and like I didn't really get like depressed or anything this time, but I mean, being depressed for like 2 or 3 days doesn't bother me. So
Did you try to stay on a low dose this off season because you're trying to still get around this leg thing?
no, the biggest reason was I just talked to do you know Broderick Chavez at all? He does like coaching for and I had a consultation with him, and he suggested it. And he also suggested the Masteron and Anavar cycle. So it was kind of funny when I went into the consultation. I thought it was going to be very much like just throw everything at, like I thought it was going to be like, oh, you're taking nothing, like you need to take like this, and he was very much like, oh, you're doing it pretty correctly, where you're kind of ramping it up over the 12 weeks, and he's like, that's a lot of like orals for 12 weeks. Let's try like Masteron and Anavar, and we'll see how it goes.
Did you think you were lying to him? Because your dose isn't that high compared to a lot of other people.
He didn't mention it at all. I mean, like, it's probably one of those things that's like, why would I lie to a guy that I'm like...
Well, it's a fucked up thing, right?
Yeah.
Because it's, you know, it's like the whole Liver King thing cracks me up, right? Because it's... I think finally today was the first day I could open YouTube and not see a reaction to a reaction to a reaction to a reaction to a reaction. But it's the... Everybody will admit to, like, the HRT dose. I just take 0.6.
Yeah.
Like, who fucking takes 0.6? Nobody does that.
Yeah.
You pull a CC. So everybody will admit, you know, to what's legally acceptable. But nobody will, everybody down, it's fucked up. Like if you're going to say you do it, then you may as well say what you actually do.
I know.
Because then if you come out and say what you do, like, well, I just take this, you know, 400 milligrams or 50 milligrams of antibiotic. Oh, he's fucking lying. He's taking 3 grams of tren.
I stumbled on a YouTube video of this guy, like, just, because I said it on like a Instagram story, like, oh, how much like test do you do? And I was like, oh, I'll start like my prep like 200 milligrams and I'll go like 250 and then 300 for the last 4 weeks. And he went on this big rant about it, like, there's no way he could be like this. First of all, he called me a bodybuilder, so I was just like, all right.
Okay, that's good.
You immediately like just discredit yourself there.
He's done a lot of research.
Yeah, like clearly you don't know like what you're talking about. And he just went off on like, there's no way he can be like putting up these numbers with that low of a dose. And I was like, well, first of all, I didn't go into like what my orals were.
Yeah,
like that was someone literally just asked like, how much test do I take? And I was like, all right, like this is what I take. And then like, there's always like that part, like, well, you know, it was like when it was natural and people were like, oh, he's definitely not natural. There was like that part of me like, well, I'll go in a cycle and like, I'll get better. Yeah. And like, I've been pretty upfront about like what I take and like when I started taking it. And I feel like my progress is like kind of mirrored.
Oh yeah.
It's been reflective of that. And it's just like at this point, like I don't have a reason to lie. I know some people like to like downplay their doses, but I don't know.
Going back to the training between, you know, clean and not. Okay. Did you find that, you know, like 5s and 8s became way more difficult to do when you were on compared to when you were not?
No, not really. I feel like I could do heavier weight. Obviously, I was stronger.
Well, yeah.
But like cardiovascular wise, no. I don't know.
It's what I see with a lot of people is they go on, I don't want to say they get more explosive. They feel more explosive. They feel more intent. Okay. You know, coming out of a squat or a bench. Yeah. Not saying it's faster. You know, it feels like it's faster. Yeah. Which seems to take off the back end. You know, so say if it's a heavy 5. Yeah. Like the first 3, they're pushing with more intent than the last 2. Yeah. Because they gassed out. Okay. If that makes sense. But it's a higher level.